In this chapter about the environment of Photoshop, let's go to the folder called Interface. Then let's open the photo of the surfer by clicking and dragging the file to Photoshop. First of all, you need to know that the interface of Photoshop is divided into 4 main sections. The first section is on the left, and this section is called the toolbar, right here. In the toolbar, you can access to all the tools that you need. For example, I can take the lasso tool to make a selection around the surfer. I can choose the brush tool to paint on the image. I can choose the type tool to add some text on the image. If I hover over the lasso tool, then right-click, I can see more tools, like the polygonal lasso tool, for example. So when there is a small arrow on the icon of the tool, it means you can access to other tools. If I move down a bit, I can go to the Remove tool, and if I right-click, I can access to other retouching tools. For example, the rectangular marquee tool is hidden with the elliptical marquee tool. Okay, it was the first section. Then at the top, there is a new section, the Options bar, which is linked to the toolbar. If I select the Move tool, for example, in the Options bar right here, I can access to the options of the selected tool. I can check Auto Select, I can choose the mode of the selection. If I select the Remove tool, for example, in the Options bar, I can change the size of the tool and some settings on the right. If I choose the Type tool, as you can see, I can change the name of the font with the drop-down menu. This is the basis. I can also change the size of the font, the color of the font, etc. So this horizontal bar is contextual. Then the third section is the menu. This horizontal area right here, which is the menu. From the menu, you can go to File, New to create a new document. You can choose Save As to save the document in a specific format, such as a PSD file, a PNG file, etc. You can also choose to export your file. Choose Quick Export as PNG, which is useful, for example. You can choose Place Embedded to import a new image. I can go to the menu Edit, then choose to undo an action. I prefer to use the shortcut Ctrl-Z or Command-Z on Mac. You can also redo an action or use the shortcut. If I go to the menu Image, I can choose Adjustments to apply an adjustment directly on the image. I can choose Image Size to see the dimensions of the image. We will cover that later. I can also go to the menu Select. From here, there are some other techniques to select an element, such as Color Range, Focus Area, Select Subject, which is useful, or Select Sky. Both of them use artificial intelligence. You can go to the menu Filter, then choose New World Filters, we choose artificial intelligence. We could apply blur effects on the image, such as the motion blur, the radial blur, the Gaussian blur. You can choose the blur gallery to apply some blur effects, the path blur, the spin blur, for example. The blur effect is one of the strengths in Photoshop. In the menu window, you can see all the panels that are displayed on the right. The check mark means the panel is visible. So the panels or the windows are on the right on this new section right here. In Photoshop, there are a lot of panels, but only 4 panels are very important. The first one is the Properties panel. There are a lot of useful options. It's a contextual panel. For example, if I select the layer, there are the options relative to the layer. We will cover that later. This is an important panel. But the most important panel is the Layers panel, because this is where you can manage all your layers. Then let me show you the third panel, the History panel right here. This is an icon, so if I click on this icon, I can reveal the panel just by clicking. You can click and drag the bottom of the panel to expand or collapse it. I advise you to expand this panel, just like that. Then from here, you can see all the actions that are done. We will cover that later. So the most important panel is the Layers panel. From here, you can manage all your layers. Then there is the Properties panel. It's a contextual panel with some useful options. Then there is the History panel, where you can manage all the actions done. If I click on the icon, I can display or hide the content of the panel, just like that. If I go at the top right corner of the screen where that says choose a workspace, if I click on this button, I can see the mode by default, which is Essentials. I advise you to stay in this mode. But for example, if a panel is missing, I click on drag, then close the panel. As you can see, the Layers panel is hidden. Now the solution is to click at the top on the workspace icon. Then I can choose Reset Essentials. And the Layers panel is visible again. As simple as that. So these are the 4 sections in Photoshop that you need to remember. On the left, the toolbar, where you can find all the tools that you need. At the top, there is the options bar, this horizontal bar, which is contextual, the menu at the top, where you can find some useful options. Then the last section on the right with the panels, with the most important panel, which is the Layers panel. And finally, one last thing I want to show you is this contextual bar right here at the bottom of the image. From here, I can access quickly to some functions which are very useful. The buttons displayed depends on the selected element, a layer, a selection, a mask, etc. So I advise you to use this bar right here, which is the contextual bar. Voila, that's all for this lesson.